gals and guys. Okay, here's my video on watermelons. So I have a couple of watermelons planted. This is my huge bed that I have tomatoes, peppers, radishes, and in the fronts of the cinder blocks I have oregano and basil and some thyme growing. And here I'm going to show you this watermelon in two different phases. This is the one watermelon plant here, and I hope you can see this. The sun is beautiful and wonderful, and I thank God for it, but it's not letting me get the best shot right now. So you can see kind of how big it is. Okay, starting to get big. All right, and you may be wondering, okay, what's going to happen? Because watermelons, they do this funny thing where they just sit and sit and sit for weeks, and they look like they're not growing. And, you wonder if the plant is okay, if something's wrong. And then they shoot up like this, and the leaves get kind of big. And then they go from this to this. See how it's laying on the ground, and it's starting to vine now. And you may be wondering, is there enough room in this raised bed for the watermelon? And absolutely there is, because as it vines, I'm just going to let it go and cover the raised bed. Even though I have mulch down, this will act as sort of a living mulch, and the watermelons can kind of rest on top of it and do their thing. So when it starts to vine like this, that's when you know good stuff is getting ready to happen. And you'll see their little tendrils. I'm trying not to get my fingers in the way of the camera here. You see their little tendrils, like that one right there, the little squiggly thing. Those little tendrils, if you stand still too long, those little tendrils, honey, they will grab onto you and try and grow on your leg. They grab onto things pretty quickly. And of course, they won't grab onto your leg, but if you put something there, like a stick overnight near a tendril, it'll be wrapped around it in the morning. They like to grab onto things and pull themselves along. They're kind of like little babies on their knees, and they just kind of crawl along and then use other things to pull themselves up on. That's what watermelons will do. So I'm happy to see this one is vining. I was hoping it would go in the direction of the yard so that it would just sprawl out into the yard, but since it's going to lay in my garden bed, I'm just going to let it be a living mulch and work with it, because that's what gardening is all about, right? Going with the flow, being flexible and learning. So I'm hoping that by July or August, I'll have some more watermelons. Last year, I was very successful, or was it year before last? I had 25 watermelons that I grew. I grew them in a much bigger space. I was leasing some space from someone. This year, I'm just growing in my backyard, and I'm hopeful that they'll do well. When I grew them before, I actually harvested 25 watermelons, one of which I entered into the county fair, and it took third place for Best in Show. So I'm hoping to get some really nice watermelons this year, and maybe one nice enough to enter into the fair again. So that's my watermelons, garden gals and guys. Until next time, happy gardening.